By now, you've probably heard my magic wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic. And the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of this series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily. On today's show, Lauryn Evarts and Michael Bosstick from the Skinny Confidential, Him and Her podcast are my guests, and we're getting into so many sex and relationship topics, including the multi-orgasmic benefits of long-term coupledom, why sex practice should always trump your sports practice, how to keep date nights super hot, the sexy art of compromise, using the power of intimacy to quickly move past fights, and never backing away from owning your pleasure. All this and more. Thanks for listening.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily, you got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's got to have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, it feels so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, go to sexwithemily.com and check out our website, our blog posts, our videos, and all the things that make Sex with Emily the podcast that you love. Also, you guys, join me on social media. It's a good time. It's at Sex with Emily on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. I always post as soon as an episode's live. I share behind the scenes of what's really happening at Sex with Emily. Get some snippets from my life and contests that we're having. Speaking of which, March, we have a new contest for you. So this month, we're doing an O of March contest. You know those aha moments when you finally figured something out and everything just makes more sense. I'm sure you've had a few of those in your sex and dating life as well. So what does that mean? I'll give you some examples. Maybe you finally found the spot in your clitoris that makes you go crazy, or you found the right words to tell your partner how you like to be touched, or you discovered a brand new erogenous zone, or maybe you let your fingers do the walking and experience an explosive prostate orgasm. You get it? Ohs and ah moments are not just for women. So whatever it is, I want to hear your best one. Send it to feedback@sexwithemily.com by April 10th. And we're going to pick 4 people to win a super sexy prize that will definitely have you going, oh, ah, all year long. Oh, and speaking of O's, here's one of mine. There might be a private Sex with Emily Facebook group coming soon. This is going to be a safe place for you, just like when you're listening to the show, for my community, and not only to get you the great Sex with Emily content, but to support one another. So stay tuned on this and let me know what you think. Would you join my private group? You can tweet me, email me. I would love to hear from you. I'm so excited. I have Lauryn Evarts and Michael Bosstick, hosts of the Skinny Confidential Him and Her podcast.
Yes. My mouth has strawberry wet head in it, so I hope I sound nice and lubricated.
Right? It lubricates the mouth. I'm going to give you like a parting gift.
It's actually really smart.
And I love having you guys on because I had so much fun on your podcast, The Skinny Confidential, and I just love them. Like, they're my new favorite couple. Like, they must be. Like, you guys were just so open and real, and I love just everything that you're doing with your brand. And Skinny Confidential, when I first heard it, I mean, I think like skinny, like it's for dieting, but not at all. It's like you're given the skinny, the 411 on everything.
You got it. Totally.
Tech, lifestyle, health. I mean, tell a little bit about it. People don't know. How would you explain it? Because it's so
our
not...
podcast is something we do together. So it's like a him and her version. I started the blog 8 years ago. I was attending San Diego State, and I just felt like sororities were charging $800 for girls to be a part of it. And I just thought it was ridiculous. And I was like, how can I connect all these women everywhere and be like this kind of like encyclopedia, and they can connect and make friends and kind of create this community. So it's been something that I've worked on, like I said, every day for 8 years. And about a year and a half ago, Michael and I were drunk in Cabo. And we were having fun. Cabo is our place to go when we want to have a lot of fun. So we were having fun drinking, and he said, let's start a podcast. And so many people wanted his opinion as well. So we just thought it would be a good platform to have super interesting people on, discussing, have you on. We talked about sex. We talked about a medley of things.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, our life was on social, especially her life. And what happens on there is you start to get a lot of questions, but they're one-on-one questions, and you can only give the one-on-one response, right? Like if someone DMs you on Instagram, the response you give could be very valuable, but only that person sees it unless she shares with her friends. So we're like, okay, how do we answer these questions on a scale that can reach more than just one person? And for how busy we get, I was like, okay, we don't have time. I don't know if we have time to do videos or like some kind of talk show, but we can definitely sit down for an hour every week and answer questions. That's what it started as, is Q&A.
And so what were the questions people were asking you at the beginning? Because you're a business, right, Michael? You've done a lot entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And Lauren too. I mean, very impressive what you've done with your blog and your brand over 8 years. So coming together, power couple. Okay, so what were the questions they were asking?
It really ran the gauntlet, right? It was, some of them were about marketing. Some was how to get your brand or blog off the ground. Some of it was relationships. Some of it was sex questions. Like, it really ran the spectrum. And I always, it's funny when I give advice when you're starting a business or a brand, I say start very niche and targeted. But with us, it was a little bit different, which it kind of went against my own advice, which was really a spectrum of different questions and subjects based on whatever the listener at the time wanted to hear.
I think I started my blog as a health and wellness blog, and I did that very strategically because I wanted to niche down on one thing. And I knew that I would expand out slowly, but I wanted to do it at the right time. So I didn't introduce the characters in my life for a while. I was very, very methodical and thought out about how I was going to lay everything out. And I knew from the beginning when I was starting it that I wanted it to be a brand. So I didn't just go into it wanting it to be a blog. And I think now with the podcast, we've been able to tackle all these subjects that we've slowly built outward with the blog on one platform, which is the podcast. And you get the him perspective and you get the her perspective. And I imagine our listener just in the bathroom doing their makeup and their boyfriend overhears it, and the girl manipulates her guy into listening to the podcast.
Well, that's good. That's however they listen, right? However they get into it. Because I think it's really well done. It's appealing to everybody.
Yeah, I think your podcast is the same way, by the way. Like, as a girl, you just put it on in front of your man and like give him some sex tips without giving them. You know what I mean?
No, it's so true that I always say like, oh yeah, well, they just put it on the car or they're on a road trip because, as we know, sex can be very challenging to talk about. So yeah, blame it on me. Play it on the podcast in the car, and then you go home and watch porn together because I said so. Cool. Blame Emily.
And you don't feel attacked.
Down with that.
Right?
Yes.
You don't feel like you're attacked. It's like, oh, she said that and I overheard it, or vice versa. And so it's not like somebody coming at you saying like, I'm now the expert here and you need to do this. I think, we talked about on our show, that can be challenging in relationships if somebody comes in as like the expert and the other person feels.
Especially with sex. Yeah. Right. And it's all about tone and timing, and people can say things that just go so wrong, and it's just the way, the finesse around it. So how has your sex life been since I saw you last?
Sex life's good.
We talked about the compliment sandwich. I remember we talked about
the compliment sandwich, which was amazing.
Sent a big compliment yesterday morning.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he is getting better. I actually noticed that Michael does listen when he hears things that he should be doing and he implements them. So I got to give him props.
Good.
We were just talking before this, but I'm not the best with getting off electronics in the bedroom. So I'm working on that because of you.
Okay. Because I said no electronics. Okay. No electronics in the bedroom.
That's so
except
hard
for toys. Sex toys are cool.
That's so hard for me.
It is hard. So is it hard because you want to be on your phone, or you just want it there, or the TV? What is it? Which electronic are we talking about?
Definitely the phone.
Computer phone.
Just because, as when you're running a social media business, it's from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, 7 days a week, no breaks. You're eating a sandwich thinking, should I document it?
I know. You're like, who really cares about my sandwich? But let those tomatoes look good. I get it. It's a whole thing.
Totally.
But when you get into bed, do you go to bed? I mean, I feel like I get that it's challenging. I do. And also it's your alarm clock. And also what if you can't sleep at 3 a.m.? And what did that post do well? People hate me. I don't know. Do they love me today? But it's just more like if you know that the benefits could be that you actually, there's no distraction in the bedroom and it's just the two of you and it's not the glow of your phone. It's sort of like getting over any other habit or creating a new habit and getting over an addiction is that you just, Michael, do you bring your phone in the bedroom?
Actually, I used to, but the last few, so
my God, you're going to put yourself on a pedestal here. I can't wait to hear this.
I'm an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I know some people have different opinions, but I appreciate his work ethic and just what he's done in his life. It's a pretty crazy life story.
Yeah.
And I always look for people and how they're productive and what they've done to have success. And was talking about sleep on a podcast when I can't think, it was maybe Tim Ferriss's.
I was going to say, yeah.
It might have been. Mm-hmm. And he basically said when he gets into bed, he looks at it as like he's there to sleep. Like that's his job. And the reason that's important to get that sleep is because then he's more effective in every other area. So I started thinking about it like that. And then I incorporated the sex life stuff into it. I'm like, okay, this is going to make my sex life better. It's going to make me rest better, which is going to basically enhance the rest of my life. So now I sleep with the phone on a charger against a wall away from the bed. Like and this is super annoying. When the alarm goes off in the morning, I physically have to get out of bed and run to the wall to turn it off, which also helps me get up.
Right.
But now I don't have the option to look at it in the bed.
Yeah.
I just don't have the option.
How did that feel at first?
It feels freeing to me. Honestly, I started thinking about when we were kids, like we didn't have it. Like it wasn't, and now you're sleeping with this thing and looking at it and you're connected 24/7. I think there's something a little bit unhealthy about it.
Yeah, we hooked up for our first time when we were 12 years old. Did we tell you this on our podcast?
That was going to be one of my questions. No. 12.
So we didn't have a phone. We had a pager.
So you paged her and you're like, come on over for, I love it. So you met.
We met when we were 12.
Okay, where? How?
We were literally in 6th grade and we met, and we started dating when we were 12. Now this sounds really weird because we were 12 years old, but everyone thought he was dating his babysitter because I was like 5'7", because that's how tall I am now. I had already grown and I had huge boobs.
I thought she was a substitute teacher.
And he was like 2'1".
Okay, 2'5".
I mean, she came.
You guys are so.
We were in.
But we haven't been dating the whole time, so don't think that we're not one of those couples that have dated the whole time. That was just like he was my first BJ.
Wow, on the first date?
No, not the first date. Of course not.
Okay, but you said you met. Okay,
I didn't give it up that easy.
Right.
So we went to separate elementary schools until 6th grade, and all of a sudden I just see this like tall, blonde, fully developed girl, which I thought was like a teacher or somebody's sister, show
You're
up.
so stunning. I can only imagine. Like, look at you now. You're so stunning. I can't imagine then when you were 12. I can't even.
I had braces. It wasn't a good situation.
It was something for Michael here.
Listen, well,
Mikey.
I mean, I didn't even see the braces. I just saw like a fully developed. I was like, it was a lot different than the other 6th graders, and so I just, at the time, I put it out of my mind. I was like, okay, well, there's no chance there. And I don't know how did we even end up getting together?
We ended up, so we were together for 2 years from 12 to 14. And then we broke up, and then we would sneak over to each other's house in high school when we had other boyfriends and girlfriends and hook up with each other. Wow. And we just always had a connection sexually and like physically, whatever, emotionally. And then we went to separate colleges and I just wasn't interested. No offense. Yep. And he continued to pursue me. Like and he pursued me super, super hard. Like it was very aggressive the way he pursued me. And we ended up back together at, I think, 22 years old, and we've been together ever since.
It's amazing. You really don't hear that story. So do you believe it is this? What do you think it is?
Honestly,
chemistry.
I'm gonna get sappy here.
Soulmates. Yes, please.
So I've obviously been, I don't want to say obviously, but I've been with other women like through high school and then all through college, dated a lot, but I never.
You went through the whole college.
Well, thank God though. Right. But good. Like, and then he still comes back to, right.
We're
okay with that.
I never took any of those relationships very seriously, which got me in a lot of trouble with women. And looking back on the way that I was in relationships was I'm not proud of it. But I just never had the same connection. And I don't know what it is, but in my life, I'm very gray until I get to a point of making decisions. And when I make a decision, it's very black and white. It's either yes or no. So I have a lot of really good friends for the past, 20 years. Some of my best friends are since 6th grade. Okay. And it's same thing with Lauren. Like when I knew that's what I wanted, I knew that's what I wanted. And I don't know how to explain it in any other way than that.
I attribute it to when a man gets told no, he gets like super obsessed. And I told him no like 8 million times. So
Because you were in college having fun.
I was in college. I was in high school. I was going for older guys. I was just like not interested. He was like, no offense, a second thought.
Right.
I think that made like very much.
He was like, how dare I be a second thought? And
Yeah.
Then right. And then you guys, you would see each other. And then afterwards, and you guys are you've been together like 7, 8 years.
We've been together for we've been together for like
married.
8 years now.
Okay.
And we were engaged for 4 years. And it's just.
This is like a beautiful story because it's also kind of an impossible story. Like, I can't believe how you met, that you've been together, that you pursued, that you each persevered and did your own lives and then came back together. And then now you work together and you're building an empire. And you guys still seem really happy.
But it's really important, I think, and if anyone's out there and they're in a relationship for a long time, it's really important to keep it spicy.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, we keep it spicy, definitely with toys. Little porn.
Yeah, good.
Nothing's off limits. I think we were like always open to try something once and then like communicate. And like we talked about communication.
Yeah.
Like we're very open with like what we want. And it's never like making each other feel bad in the bedroom. I think we've talked about before, there's a lot of people in relationships that don't have that open line of communication.
Right.
And then they're not getting what they want. And then when that happens, they start to get resentful and then it comes out in negative ways or cheating. So for us, I just think it's as simple as very much an open line of communication, dialogue.
No judgment.
Prioritizing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll laugh at each other sometimes, but
But you have, right.
We're happy.
How has it changed over time or evolved, your sex life? Are there certain things that you're into maybe that you thought you weren't, or positions, or I don't know, you think certain ways, like when you're younger, like, oh, I can never have an orgasm on top, but now I can, or I didn't like dirty talk and now I do. Like, is there anything that you guys lately have been like, oh, wow, we are into this?
I definitely think through Michael, I found out that I was multi-orgasmic. Is that what you call it?
Yes.
When you can have multiple orgasms?
Yes, multi-orgasmic.
Yeah, that was something I definitely found out through Michael. So to all my ex-boyfriends who hopefully aren't listening, sorry.
No, but I think that comes down to getting comfortable with somebody, right? And this is another thing, like, it was always difficult. The one night stand is difficult, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You go and you're not, like we talked about on our show, if you don't know what someone likes or what they want, and there's, it's first time meeting someone and it's drinking involved and all these things, then it's a bad experience. But at this point, I mean, who knows how many times we've had sex, but it's been a long time to figure out like what we really like and what we really don't like. And so I think that's what makes it get better and better, is like it's like almost like going to practice. Like, it's in a weird way to say, it's like almost like going to practice with somebody every day and refining and Friday, so it gets better and better and better.
It is.
I think I've had a one night stand before in high school, and I remember walking out of that, and actually it's so weird because I look back and I'm like, how did I have the foresight on this? I knew after that one night stand that for me, I didn't want to do it again because I like when someone knows my body. Right. I think it's such a waste of time when you're drunk because I think your nervous system shuts down. It's very hard for me to orgasm when I'm drunk.
Right.
So I was drunk and had this one night stand, and it just felt pointless. It was like, what was the point of that?
Exactly. Well, I'm so glad that you knew that, because so many young women just don't. They're like, I'm drunk, and so therefore my inhibitions went down and I was able to have sex, but I just don't think it's as enjoyable for many women, and they can orgasm. And you're right.
Is that right though? I always feel like I can't orgasm when I'm drunk.
Yes. I think I actually just had this conversation last night with a friend.
If I'm sober and she's drunk, I'm like, dude, I don't know if we can do this right now. It becomes, it just becomes like more of like a workout, like, what's
going to happen?
Is this going
because you're not as present.
And I know it's not going to happen. And she's like, just keep going. I'm like, listen, I'm back here. I'm like dying. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Calling the troops or the vibrators or whatever. No, it is true for a lot of women and men. The thing is that we want to feel safe with the person that we're with. And we want enough, of course, when someone knows our body, it just does get better and better, especially if you're healthy and you're working on intimacy, because what happens during one night stand is we're drunk, we don't feel safe, and we're thinking about like, just, are they going to judge us? And we're just not as comfortable. So the truth is, yes, it's being comfortable being in your body, and alcohol can thwart the orgasm for so many women.
Totally.
And I'm like, what is the point? But then there's women who are like, or men who are think, yes, I was drunk, and the sex was, I guess it's women who don't have orgasms as much or don't care as much about it. They're like, at least I had this connection with someone, or I had sex. And what I don't understand is that there's so many women who can only have sex really drunk, like younger. I guess
it's
all
not being
ages.
Comfortable. I mean, sometimes you just don't feel comfortable, and you get drunk and you feel like you can be comfortable. For me, I've always found sex has a lot to do, for me, I'm talking on my opinion, with my mind-body connection.
Absolutely.
Like, I think it's so much to do with that. And I think that it's almost like a workout, right? Like, you almost have to, when you're working out and you're doing like Pure Barre or Pilates and you want to put it in your abs, you have to really think to put it in your abs and you have to be really present in it. And I think sex is very much the same way. I've always been someone that I think it's not all about the guy for me. It's definitely like about what position I feel like I'm in control a lot of the time when I'm having sex, like 75%, because I do have that mind body connection. So I think that's something
because
really
you know
important.
where to move and what you want.
Yeah.
And you've always been that way then.
Yes, I've always like known
so
about.
many women are not. I mean, how did you just?
I think I taught Pure Barre. The reason I bring that up is because they talk so much about mind body connection, and I think after teaching Pure Barre, I just realized how much your mind can tell your body. And you can kind of feel what's right and what's wrong and what doesn't feel good.
And the way to move.
Yeah.
And so can you give whatever you're comfortable with though? Because I talk about it all the time in the mind body, but can you actually break down what that's like in the moment? Like when you say that, when you guys are having sex, is it that like, what are you thinking? Or what is it? Or is it that you're not thinking or that you're breathing into your pelvic floor or what that means for you? Because obviously we all have sex in different ways, but I'd love to hear more about it.
I think it's just tapping into what feels good for you. Like a lot of women like to be on top. I like to be on top. I think for me, like I realize that if you put pillows under the guy's back and kind of prop him up to a slanted level, like that's going to be a better orgasm. You find little things like that. I call it like refine.
Yes.
You just keep refining it until you find something that really works for you and you stay in tune with it. I think sometimes when women are having sex with men, they're so worried about the man. And maybe I'm selfish like this, but I'm also worried about myself.
No, I think, first of all, you should be like the poster child for women because I say this a lot. I love hearing it from you because I do think that women are socialized that way still, that it is about the man's pleasure. And it's about, in fact, there was like some study that said like men and women had poll taken and women were like, good sex is when he's happy and satisfied. Men are like, when I was satisfied. Like it's never like I gave her the orgasm. So the fact that you just intuitively knew that is something that I wish so many more women understood, that yes, his pleasure is really important, but you guys are going to be happy if she's happy.
I've always been insecure with the thought that like, I don't want to be the only one getting pleasure, right? Like it's a weird transaction. Like I wouldn't want to be doing anything with anybody in any kind of transaction, business or friendship, or if we're having sex or whatever it is, dinner. Like you don't want to be the only person that's like having a great time while somebody else may not be, right? And that's, I don't think I've ever thought about it in that way with sex, but I think, what's the word? Like deep, like underneath that's always been there. It's like, you don't want to participate in something where it's like, you're the only one receiving pleasure. And I don't know what the reason that is, but
my dad, when I was little, had a lot of girlfriends, in and out when my mom and him divorced. And I would watch all these women come in and out so quickly, and he would like not go through them, but it was like a quick turnover. And so I think I saw that when I was little, and I was like, fuck that. I'm going to change it to be about, I think I'm trying to think of why I've always thought that.
Yeah, that's not the way that,
I just felt like I want to be a little bit more selfish. I think that's kind of, as people have asked me this before on my blog, like why I feel like that. I think it's just important for the woman to feel 50% of the pleasure. It's not just about the guy. And I think when the woman's feeling pleasure, the guy's more turned on.
It's so true, but that's not intuitive for a lot of people, but it's absolutely the truth.
Well, if you're out there, I think that you should put some pillows under your guy to prop it up and refine and do what works for you and be selfish.
You know what? Though? It works both ways.
It's so true. And if you don't know, like hopefully you're with a partner, you could say, I'm not having orgasms or I'm not having pleasure, but let's even figure it out together.
Totally.
But it's so true. And for the woman, if you're on the bottom too, lifting it up with using like sex for, or the like Liberator makes the pillow. Or
what is this Liberator?
Pillow.
No, I've heard about this.
Okay,
what
the
is
Liberator
it's like that triangle
ramp.
pillow.
It's a triangle. It's like a ramp. They make a lot of furniture. The Liberator ramp. It's like a triangle. But it actually is uniquely qualified to kind of act as like a ramp.
All I want for my birthday is a Liberator.
Yeah, done.
Should we tell the assistant?
I don't ask for much.
Maybe we'll get this one on our own.
Yeah.
Does it come in pink?
It might come in pink.
I think
it comes in black and but and then some of it there's a Liberator wedge with restraints on it too. If you're into that kind of thing, but like she's not. Yeah, you can like
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. But it really, you could have big ones, small ones, and for the pelvic floor, and women are on the bottom also raising your pelvic floor up. It's the different angles.
That's amazing.
So even if you think it's the penis or you're blaming her anatomy, like you could just need a different position.
Okay, so I want to know
love
from
that
you
you're
though,
saying
like
this.
what are tips that you would give someone that's in a relationship for as long as we've been in to spice it up? You gave us some on our podcast, but I feel like we just need to keep manipulating
You guys
the
are so
conversation.
efficient that you already did it already.
Okay.
But you know what?
No, we need more. We need
will
more
s-
tips.
Okay.
I will say, going back to your original question about like what's the difference.
I got you,
She's not
sister.
ready for your notebook
in.
yet.
No, I think I am. But going back to your original question, like what's the difference? You know, when we were kids, it's fun. You have no responsibility. So it's just like when you see each other, it's just fire.
Right.
Now, like, you know, we work together. There's a lot of different things going on. The stress builds up. And then it's almost one of those things where it's like, if you're not on top of it saying, hey, we both need to get on the same page
Right.
and be sexual here or have a date night, whatever it is, be intimate. You could run into a trouble where like maybe I'm working too much and then that she's being neglected, or maybe she's working too much and I'm being neglected. And
Right.
that I think is the hurdle. It's not that there's a lack of connection. It's that life starts to get in the way and you have to figure a way, okay, how do we put that on hold for a second and
So
get
we need
back
your
to it?
tips on that, or he
Okay.
needs your tips and he'll write
He
them
needs
down.
it. Okay. Well, but here's the thing is that, I talked about this in your show as well, about prioritizing it. But I feel like you guys are so in touch that you probably have that sense when it's been a little bit too long since you've had sex or connected,
Yeah, it's
right?
called a big fight.
Right? No, I know this.
I
mean,
get
this is
stressed. You get stressed.
Yeah, you're like, what's wrong with me? And then you're like, oh, sex. And then you're like, I love him. Like, you're probably, okay, this is how my friends are. They've been dated or married for a long time. Like, I hate him. And they're like, and a day later, I'm like, how are things? Like, oh my God, amazing. We just need to have sex. And a lot of couples aren't as in touch with that, with their partners.
Every time we have sex, we look at each other and be like, why don't we the
why
problems
don't-
go away.
Right. It's true. It's like
why,
magic.
She looks at me, she's like, I don't know why you don't just do that all the time. And
But
it's like,
you should.
But it's one of those things. I mean, you know, like stressful situations, then you forget, or like you get just too wrapped up in it or whatever. But it's important to circle back to it. So I think
Right.
we're working on getting better at that.
That's good. I mean, I don't know if you guys have you're asking me how to spice it up. I don't know. I feel like you guys are doing a great job. But some of the things we talked about is, you know, just first of all, making time for it. So not letting it go too long when it's not happening. And also changing. One of my like favorite easy things is like location, like changing up like location. If you're always having it in the bedroom, then like have it. You guys live let me have it in the living room. It sounds like you guys do this. Do you take trips enough? Do you get away and get out of the bedroom?
That does help. That's so funny that
travel
you say
lots of
that.
us.
I never even
Sex,
thought. Yeah, it's the best.
Huge. It makes such a difference because you're not home. You don't have your companies and your business all there in the same energy environment. You're like out and it's new, and you say like going to Cabo, playing, having fun. Like that's a great thing to do too. Have you ventured into any role playing?
Kind of. I mean, like dress up.
Yeah, dress up, because I'm sure dressing up is fun, and then just doing like the meeting out at, first of all, doing it home. So if there's some kind of, I don't know, cheerleader or schoolgirl, or I'm sure you just have sexy clothes, and you could talk about. I know you're laughing.
She had a
but-
nice little Valentine's number.
See,
I had a very interesting Valentine's number. It was like this whole
was it?
fishnet get up.
was it amazing? I'm sure
He loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm sure it was epic. So you could do something like dressing up or playing the roles, but what about even the sexy stranger? So you guys can make plans to meet out. Just stick with me, and you might even laugh at it, but it's in the moment, but it's fun. So like, let's meet at our favorite. Do you have a place you go, a bar, a restaurant?
We have tons of places we go because
Okay.
I get obsessed with the same places.
Right. Okay, good. So you're one night, you're like, we're going to go there and we're going to meet up at 7:38, but you are going to pretend you've never met, and you're going to have separate names, or you can decide beforehand or after, and you're going to go up and you're going to start flirting and create a different persona. How'd you meet? And it's really hot because you actually realize like, you could either make up stories or not, but that you're reconnecting again and seeing each other in a new way of like how it would be when you
Are you
first met.
taking notes on this? Are you
Yep, I'm
booking
gonna
a
grow.
reservation?
I'm gonna grow a long mustache and I'm gonna show up with like a cowboy hat. And
No.
Do it. Dress up. Where's an
She's
alter
like, no,
ego?
no, no.
He did have this huge beard once, and I told him I loved it because it felt like I was cheating on him.
That's exactly what role playing is. It's like you're having a threesome, you're having sex with someone else,
Is
but
that
it's still
healthy?
the same person. It's really what the threesome. You wanna do that?
that she was feeling like she was with someone else. Is that healthy?
Absolutely
Okay,
healthy, and
good.
that's why I'm telling you about role play and dressing up. Because what's missing when you're together a long time that you just can't. It's really hard. Is that you're missing spontaneity. You're missing the variety and the newness. Like nothing is new to you guys anymore. Maybe you've tried it. You've been there, done that. So anything that you can do that would be like, oh, it felt like a different person, or sharing fantasies together, watching porn together, reenacting something. It's something new and it's different. And there's really no limit to how you can expand your sex life and your experiences. It's just like getting creative, and you guys are really creative.
Why do you think people aren't open to that? I think we're open to it. But I'm just,
You guys
what do
really
you think?
are. I mean, I think because sex could be so, it's so shameful and it's so scary. And I think that there's so many reasons. First, we might have great ideas of like, have been wanting to do sexy stranger forever with my partner, but I'm so afraid he's going to laugh, judge me, either blame me or blame himself for the inadequate sex life. It's just so fraught with judgment that we don't even know how to talk about it. And so I also think that when couples start experiencing that sort of malaise that happens to every relationship after 6 months to 2 years is when it, especially 2 years, starts to happen. They just assume that it's broken. They don't love each other anymore. And they don't even know that, no, sex is something you have to prioritize and focus on. And so let's try something new. Let's make an effort. I just think people don't think that there's options. And then they just decide that sex isn't that important. We'll get back to it.
What's a healthy sex life to you when someone says, you know, how many days a week does someone need to be having sex? Or is there no number?
It's so hard to talk about numbers because I hate people to be like, well, we're not doing that. But I think that it's up to the couple to decide. So if you guys are like once a week and we're both happy and it's great, then stick with that. But a lot of times there's the mismatched libido thing or mismatched desires where, let's say, like, Lauren, you want it 3 times a week and Michael wants it 1 time a week. So then I would say, okay, so can we get another time in there? How would we do that? And then you guys would discuss like, okay, we're so busy at night, and Lauren may be like, I'm always tired. And he's like, well, I'm, go to bed early. Then on Saturday mornings, like without fail, you get up earlier in the morning before you go off and do your thing, and you're going to make it happen. You're just going to prioritize that time that feels right to both of you.
There's nothing better than hangover sex in the morning.
Hangover sex.
Why is that?
Because it gets rid of the hangover.
It does.
It really does get rid of the hangover.
And you're hornier when you're hungover for some reason.
I think they say that, and and I think that is true.
It depends.
Is it really true?
That's true for me.
I think you just feel like crap when you want an orgasm. What doesn't an orgasm help? Like, you never have an orgasm and feel worse, although men do sometimes. I know.
Yeah, it depends what you. It depends what you were doing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But typically with your wife,
those stories are gonna get me in trouble.
Right. We don't have to hear those, but I think with your partner, when you have a sex, even with yourself, masturbation, it always feels good.
That's another thing that I'm so glad you came on my podcast and talked about was masturbation. I think that's something that I'm noticing. I have a group of women on Facebook. There's like 30,000 women in there. And
tell us about it. It's your private group.
It's my private group, which if you don't have one, you have to start one, and we all have to join.
Thinking about it, yeah.
I'll tell you.
Tell me, I want to do a private.
She has to do it. Okay. Yeah, because then everyone can go to a comfortable, safe space on the internet and all talk with each other and ask each other questions.
Because you and your moderators have to approve whoever comes in. So if there's anybody that's not supposed to be there, you can remove
people
them.
That are fans of your show.
I would love to do that because we get so many questions, and I would.
I'm helping you start one after this. It's literally going to take 5 seconds. It's really incredible.
We've been talking about it for a long time, and I would love it. Okay, so tell me. So
it's a community that I basically started that's just for the Skinny Confidential readers, and they come in and we just talk about everything. I mean, we've talked about everything from people have had miscarriages and talked about it, and the support is like amazing. We talk about sex, we talk about dating, we talk about everything from which ice roller to get to beauty products to everything. And I've noticed that when people talk about masturbation, sometimes there's like a negative tone, and it should not be negative.
So I want to hear what the negative tone is. Give me like a.
No one says anything actually mean, but it's almost like shameful. And I loved what you said on our show, that to be good, I don't want to say good at sex, but to feel that mind-body connection in sex, you almost need to masturbate. Yeah. And the men. I think with men too, like it's important.
Well, that was a big thing. Like when you came on our show, a lot of women come in and they say, my man's watching porn or they're masturbating, like, and they take it as like an attack on the relationship or make it about them. And I think a lot of people are like, wow, that was really helpful. Like, it's okay for the guy to be doing, like, it's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's obviously the other end of the spectrum where it can get unhealthy, but the majority, it's a healthy practice, right? And so I think educating people and like making them comfortable and letting them know, like, this is natural. Everybody's doing it. It's a comfortable thing to do.
But women and men kind of know that, or they just do it anyway. But for women, you're right. But I want to hear what they're is it more like they're judging others for masturbating or themselves in the group? Like, I'm just trying to get the gist. I think I know it's private.
Yeah, no, if you want my real opinion, I think that sometimes if there's negativity about it, and I'm not talking about my Facebook group, I'm talking about
in life, your friends, right?
I think that maybe it's a deflection. And maybe it's a curiosity that people are, nervous or just not maybe educated. I don't know if
I think it's educated too. I think that women just, or they're like, oh, it's gross, or I don't need to. I hear that from women too. I don't need to. I'm having sex. It's like, it's not a need. It's how you understand.
It's self-care. You said it's self-care.
Most of the time when you have a negative reaction to something, and this is anything in life, it's because there's something that you see in yourself that you don't like in whatever it is that you're judging. Like if you get, like the example, if you get angry with somebody that is maybe being lazy, it's like you're scared that you might do that. Or if you're upset with somebody that like that maybe they're not masturbating, it's because you feel like you need to do it and you're not doing it, and it's making. So I just think like everything that you have that kind of like gut negative upset reaction to it's some type of a reflection of in your life that maybe you're not addressing, or you're not.
It's true. Whatever like triggers you, it's sort of like a mirror sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, I think what you're doing for women is you're really changing the conversation and making it comfortable and not judgmental, and you're creating this space for all of us to just feel open with our sexuality. I think men,
Thank you. That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You're doing that. You're changing the narrative. And I think that's so important for women to feel comfortable like men feel comfortable. I mean, I used to work in a bar when I was a blogger. I am a blogger, but I was blogging and working on my blog and working in a bar, and it was all men. And they would come into this bar, and I would almost be like a picture frame on the wall, because they would just talk how they talk in their own element without kind of recognizing I was there. And it was unbelievable to hear these men talk and not having them notice a woman was around. And I think women are allowed to have some of the same conversations, and not be looked at in a bad way.
Oh yeah, and you're absolutely right. I do this. I was in Ojai this weekend with a bunch of girlfriends, and I'm so used to it. But we were talking about, God, what was it? Like, there's kids behind us. Oh, she was like, so tell me about that cock ring, Emily. Like, is it going to help my guy stay harder? I'm like, yeah. Well, here's the thing, because he puts it on, and the blood flow, and then it restricts it, and it can actually help last longer. And then the vibrations feel great in your clitoris. And there's like 8 of us sitting around having wine, but like next to us, there was a table of other people that were just silent. And one of the women in the group it was like, shh, they're listening. I'm like, so like, it's fine. Like, it's not children, and they're quiet because they probably want to hear about cock rings, because no one really gets.
I know. I was just going to ask you, like, which one should I get?
Oh, the pivot. What did I bring you guys?
You brought us so many good goodies. You brought us We Vibe. We love that. You brought us a candle that you melt wax.
Yes. The Donna candle, probably.
Loved that.
This is another one.
Yeah. And then and we're using your Wet Head strawberry juicy apple spray.
You're so good with products.
To keep our mouths lubed up for the podcast, so we don't have dry mouth.
I love it. We have no dry mouths in here anymore. You're so funny. No, but you're right. It is a conversation. Men can sit and talk about it, but women don't. So I do. Obviously, I do with all my friends. And when people are comfortable, usually it is a reaction because they've never heard anyone else talk about it. But where else are we going to go and do it? Especially if our friends, in many cases, are going to be judgmental. I have a few questions. They're quick questions.
Okay.
I call these my quickie questions that I ask all of my guests. And then I'm going to have you guys help me answer a few questions for listeners. So you have to answer quickly.
Okay, Michael,
I'm going to go back and forth. Ready? You're going to, and then you're going to, okay. Biggest turn on.
Biggest turn on.
You have to go quick.
Rapid fire.
There's a perfume that she wears, and if I smell it, I'm like a bull in heat, and I don't know what it is, but it's like once in a while.
I want to know.
A bull in heat,
but in a good way.
In a good way, and it's like right under the, and it's like this right under the ear here, and I smell it, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Making out.
Yeah.
Making out. He gets a little lazy at it.
Well, we talked about this on your show, Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
We talked about making out.
Valentine's I was pretty good. I'm working on it. Okay. I'm working,
Maybe some blowjob spray.
Yeah.
Just not in that way, but like it gives you a taste in your mouth. Okay. Biggest turn off.
Bad smells. I like hygiene, right? And I'm not one of those guys like you need to jump in the shower, but like let's take care of yourself a little bit.
Biggest turn off with him or just in general?
I guess in general.
In general, when someone comes too close to me and I don't want them to come close to me. Yeah.
Bad breath. We're big on tongue scraping right now.
Michael, this is quickie.
Oh, tongue scraping.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
we're
that
big
works.
on that.
Yeah, you do the thing. Everyone. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There's so much. Okay. Sexiest part of your partner's body. You guys can answer this now.
Go.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I like this area right here in her hips, and she's bent over. That's good.
What area is that?
Like the hips. I like
like the
and then
hip.
I can see everything.
For sure, his ass.
Yeah.
He has the best ass I've ever seen. I'm not even joking. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
You'll have to show everyone later.
I'll give a demonstration.
I'll do an Instagram.
Please. Yeah, we're going to do a story after. I think that's good. Those are my questions. Now we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Thanks for supporting them. And when we get back, Lauren's going to be telling you exactly how you can send me a question into the show.
Okay, so now we're on to emails. Have a question you'd like to ask me to answer on the show? I'd love that. Use the option that's easiest for you guys. Text Ask Emily, all one word, that's Ask Emily, to 797979. You'll receive a short form where you can enter your question and contact details. If you'd like me to call you during a future caller show, please indicate yes on the form. How fun. Talking to you guys about your question is one of my most favorite things to do. You can also submit a question from sexwithemily.com website via the Ask Emily tab. Super easy. That's sexwithemily.com via the Ask Emily tab. As always, I love it when you include information that will help me help you. Your gender, your age, where you live, and how you listen to the show. That's it. Thank you guys, and I can't wait to hear from you.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Lauren. That was so well done. Okay, ready for some emails here. This is from John, 21 in Ohio. Hi, Emily. I try to keep my relationship with my girlfriend exciting. I've introduced toys and I try to be spontaneous, but I feel like I always have to initiate sex. Even when she initiates, I still have to do all the work. As much as I love seeing her turned on, she hardly ever engages in foreplay. I do my best to warm her up, but when she's ready, she wants to get right to it. I feel like sex is a chore for her, as if she can't wait to get started so she can get over with. How do I get my girlfriend to be more open to foreplay, have longer pre-sex sessions, and hopefully enjoy it?
Well, John, that's amazing that you're a man and you like foreplay.
Right. Well, let's just say that. Let's just clap for John.
Yeah, John in Ohio, there's a line out the door for you.
Exactly. You're so right. Because often we hear that women are like, why aren't I getting the foreplay? Why aren't I getting it?
I think that you should have an honest conversation with her and just tell her up front and communicate. I think that sometimes men have trouble communicating. So if you sit her down and you tell her that, that's the first step. Maybe have a glass of wine before so you're loosened up. And I think that from there, if she doesn't start doing it the way you want to do it, maybe you need to take a little bit more action. Maybe, I don't know, spice it up with like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Your what did you call it? Sexy stranger. Sexy stranger.
Yeah.
Try doing that. That makes her get out of bed and not be lazy.
Right.
You said he said he does toys.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, though. I'm just curious. She does toys and he does spontaneous sex. But he's 21. I don't know how old she is. So I'm just wondering, maybe she's about her 20s. And the thing is, think about it in your, okay, Lauren, you were an exception because you like have had amazing sex and you've known all these things. And I'm teaching women, but she might not have as much experience. She might not even know what makes her feel good yet. Like she might never have masturbated. She might not be able to even explain it. So she doesn't even know how to initiate it.
How do you teach someone to masturbate? Like what is tips that you would give someone? I mean, there's some, I talk about it all the time, but for women, they just need to do it. Like take some time alone in your bedroom, lock the door if you have roommates and just start touching, watch porn, read erotica, get yourself in the mood and masturbate without the goal of orgasm. So if she still hasn't even orgasmed yet, or she might think, I don't know, just use your fingers. Like, how does it feel to touch your nipples? How does it feel to like run your hands over your body? I mean, just start. I have a lot of beginner stuff on my... I'm going to put that on my Google Calendar next Wednesday, masturbate in red, because so I can make some time and create some self-care for myself. You should. Masturbation is a huge self-care. I want to help you guys. You're like looking at, I feel like... Oh, Michael, what are you thinking about, John? Guys, I know what I'm going to give you before you leave. Just spice it up.
I was also thinking maybe, if they're that young, and I don't know how young she is, but I'm thinking about myself as a young man. Maybe you have to have a conversation with like what she's liking or disliking, maybe in this case, about the foreplay. And you have to be honest with yourself. Like, don't let it be an attack, John, right? Yep. On the ego. Like maybe she's not liking the way you're touching her or the way you're doing the foreplay. So have that conversation. Like, what do you like about this and what do you dislike about this? And don't take it defensively. Maybe she's avoiding it because she doesn't like the act itself, and you need to refine it. Right. I think that's great because I feel like she. A lot of people like foreplay if they're doing it right. Love foreplay. Huge fan of foreplay. I mean, foreplay. Who doesn't like foreplay? Guys are lazy. They just roll you over and want to stick it in sometimes. This is what happens. Dick in the back. We don't want dick in the back. I don't want you poking me. I think we've probably all been victim of bad foreplay, and in that case, you want to get away from it. So maybe this is what's occurring here. I don't know. I understand. You're saying that maybe he's just like. Who knows? Jackhammering right away with his finger. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe jackhammer. Maybe he needs to clean his fingernails. I had this friend that needed to clean his fingernails so bad. I didn't know what to do. He was dating my friend, and I was like, "You got to clean those talons." Good. No, it's so true. That actually wash your hands too. Like when you're dating and you hear a guy go to the bathroom and he comes out, and you're like, "Where was the washing of the hands?" Like, don't touch me now. Like it has to happen. Yeah. Right. Maybe, John, you just need to tidy up there, wash the hands, change the sheets, or just have a talk about it. I think that it's so scary to talk about sex, especially at that age. Okay, one more.
This is from Eric at 29, Massachusetts. Hi, Emily. My wife and I have great sex. We're always looking to improve, but I think we're both happy. There is one thing that bothers me. My wife doesn't know how beautiful and sexy she is. She is a 10 and everyone but her knows it. She's not fishing for compliments. She just has a low view of herself that may have formed from past relationships. What's a good way to get her to understand that she's the sexiest thing I've ever seen?
Okay, the first step
Eric.
is you literally need to take a picture of what he just wrote and leave it on her bed pillow. Because that right there is showing that he's going behind her back out of her way, that he thinks that she's like the world. So she needs to see that.
Okay.
I think that he should take a picture of what he wrote and show that he wrote into Sex with Emily and show her that he did that.
Or play this for her too. But
play
that's
this
true.
for her.
But she already, I think that's a great, like, to show that how much he cares to help her, but she still doesn't hear it.
I think that's something that it's going to be hard for him to try to fix. I think that's something that it needs to start with her. It's like the masturbation thing.
Yes.
It's like self-care. It's like she needs to start from the inside with her. I don't think
Inside
that's something he can
job.
fix.
Confidence is especially like, I mean, I think I talked about this on your show as well. Like compliments. I love tell me I'm hot. I mean, I also happen to feel good about myself. We all have high and low days, but for women who just don't feel it no matter what, it really is like an inside job. Like she's going to have to practice her own self-love. Maybe it's therapy, it's self-sabotage, negative thoughts that are not allowing her to feel her best self.
Can I play devil's advocate though?
Yes, please. That's why you're here.
You know, like, have you ever, and I have some friends that I have in mind, some guy friends, where they're constantly complimenting and it's like they're doing it because they want something and it's like, and then all of a sudden the compliment feels ingenuine. It's like, oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Like, you're so pretty, you look so hot. It's like, can we get more original? What do
Yeah.
you think of my new shoes?
Yeah, it's like too
Something.
many compliments start to feel like, okay, you're saying this to make me feel better. So now I feel
No,
worse.
I never think there's too many compliments.
See,
just
I'm
so
the
you
same
know.
way as you.
Yeah.
So I
Every
agree.
second I want one.
Yeah, every single second. Like I want it all the time, but some women don't. So for me, my like love language, I know it's like words of affirmation, physical touch. Do you guys know your love languages?
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
Mine's physical touch.
what's mine again?
And words of affirmation, maybe or no?
Maybe I'll take both. Just,
No,
just if I'm
but
being
you could
greedy.
do one or two usually.
Okay, so I'll take two.
Yeah,
Words of
usually there's
affirmation
a
and
primary. Yeah. Do you know what yours are?
I know it's not.
No, it's the one that no one else has.
It's-
What are all four of them?
It's quality time.
Okay.
Acts of service.
Okay.
Gifts.
Okay.
Words of affirmation, physical touch.
Yours is service and quality time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't-
that's
don't even
tough.
try to.
See, I don't want gifts and I don't want any words.
That's tough. You're like, you want me to
Every
put the
holiday
gas
he
in the
wants
car?
a card. I'm like, geez.
I did like a card. I did
Cards
like
are
a card.
hard.
Yeah.
It's President's Day.
did-
He's like, "Where's my card?" I'm
No,
like,
no,
I
no, no.
can't.
I don't, but yeah,
At least you know, I know.
I don't need the,
Can I just hug you and tell you you're hot? No, that's what she wants.
yeah, I don't need the words of affirmation. I don't know
Okay.
why.
So-
My mom
No,
was always
that's
tough.
because it's how you. It's
My mom
probably
was
how
tough. Like I was old. We grew up and it was like, obviously I grew up fine and I got compliments and everything, but it
Right.
was one of those things like, not like you can do better, but it was one of the things like, it was like, you're doing a good, it was, I didn't need
You're
someone
doing
to be
okay.
like,
Right.
it was like good. Like that was like not expected, but it was like not surprised, right? Does that
Okay,
make
so
sense?
maybe he needs to reevaluate her love language because maybe he's over complimenting.
That's what I'm saying,
Wait, that's okay.
but
You're
not so
saying-
elegantly.
Right. No, you did. I get it. I get what you're saying here, but I feel like, and you're right.
Like
For
whatever
some
love
people,
language is not affirmation.
something isn't being met, but also she's just feeling really insecure and I think it's probably spilling over into other areas of her life because when women don't feel great about themselves, they don't, she might not want to have sex or she might not want to go out. It might be like a depression or who knows what's going on. I've heard this scenario a lot where women just aren't feeling great. I feel like that's what it is, an inside job. But the thing you're saying about compliments, there is this belief because Menace, who still is my co-host on the show, sometimes he thought the same thing. He's like, women are going to know, or it sounds super cliche to keep saying you're so pretty, you're so pretty. And some women might experience that way, but for a lot of women, or whatever the compliment is, it like nourishes us, like it feels like love, like it is love.
I
And
want
that's
him
the thing.
to imagine me like a cell phone battery. I'm at 1% every morning.
Yep.
Every compliment takes me a number up. So I need 100 compliments
Right.
today to get fully charged.
Totally with
one
you.
more devil's advocate. What if
He's trying to get out of it.
what if
You're so cute.
your love language, both of your love languages, words of affirmation, right? Let's just say that that's the
Okay.
example we're using. And so you project that onto your partner is you want to give compliments because that's the way
that's
you
what happens, right? So Lauren probably gives you compliments all day long, and you're like, I know I'm a star. I know my ass is great, but when are just the two of us going to dinner and you're going to leave your cell phone at home?
But what if
where's my card?
The devil's advocate thing here is, what if your love language is not words of affirmation? So you're never getting the other thing that you need. So it might be what he might need to do is figure out what her love language is and then meet that need.
Right. Exactly. Sense? Yeah. That's true. There could be. Well, I think love languages are helpful for every single couple. I appreciate the
compliments, but I'm saying it doesn't like move the needle so much where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like fulfilled.
Right.
Now, right.
Which is, I totally get it. I get it. I just I think this is more about confidence, but the love language thing is really interesting because if you don't share the same one as your partner, you'll keep giving it all day long and it's not going to land.
She wrote me this book on Valentine's Day.
Oh, so it was a card/book.
And I read the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I gave him a book,
and it made me super happy. Like I was
this card,
almost teared up. Thick. Almost teared up.
Of all things good about him, and you just
not good. Just like good, things just that are like good about
what you love about him.
Yeah.
What we love about each other. That meant more to me than like, hey, you look great, or you're like, or you're good for you. Like that.
Did you have a card with the book or the
book was the card? I mean,
I'm kidding. That sounds amazing.
You should have seen for Christmas. I got him a card that was literally 50 feet tall.
See, you listen. But I know it's hard, but you guys, this is the comfort. You guys are a really good example of a couple who listens. And she's telling you the compliment thing, and it's not going to sound cheesy to her if you do it every day.
Did we answer his question?
I know. I'm worried.
I want to make sure we answer the question.
I'm going back to it. What's a good way to get her to understand she's the sexiest thing I've seen? I mean, I feel like if you're just telling her that she's hot and she's beautiful, there might be other ways where her self-esteem is suffering now. So maybe she's having a hard time at work, or maybe she's challenged her if she's, an artist and her paintings aren't selling. Like there could be other things going on. So I think just having a baseline like conversation with her about her, like where she's at in her life and where she might need your support. It might not just be around her looks. And
what you said, communication's key. You said that on our podcast.
Communication is lubrication.
Oh.
Just find out a little bit more. And you guys are having great sex, so that's awesome, Eric. So just keep talking to her. And you could show her this and say, I'm not sure what to do. What do you think? So how else could I help you get this message across? Lauryn and Michael, The Skinny Confidential, him and her podcast, and so many other things going on with your lives. They could check it all out. What's the best? We'll put it all in the show notes. But
I'm just at The Skinny Confidential on Instagram, and our podcast is on iTunes.
Yep, The Skinny Confidential, him and her podcast, and then, I'm Michael Bosstick. It's just
you guys are so fun. You guys are doing such great work, and thank you for coming in today. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, so fun. Okay, you guys, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you again for subscribing and for listening to the show. I love hearing your comments. Reviewing the show is really helpful too when you subscribe on iTunes. And thanks to my amazing team, Ken, Jamie, our volunteers, Shannon and Jenny, producer Lark, Michael, and Sybil. Was it good for you? Text Ask Emily to 797979.